Alright, this video right here is the first module of our SalesOrg.io full sales development course, where you're going to learn everything that you need to become a top performer as a sales development representative. Oh, and in case you're new to my content, my name's Troy Barter. I've been in sales for over 17 years, and I've been in tech sales for the past 10 years. I learned absolutely everything that you need to be a success in sales the hard way. I didn't have great mentors or great coaches to learn from, so the purpose of this YouTube channel and of this course is to teach you all of the things that I had to learn the hard way so you can become a success in sales way faster than I did. In this module, we'll cover what you can expect to get out of the course, what a sales development representative is, what they do for a sales organization, and why you should want to be a sales development representative. When I created the original content for this course over the past year, it was designed to specifically help people break into tech sales as a sales development representative. But the reality is, pretty much every inside sales organization, whether it's selling tech, software, or something else, either needs sales development representatives or they need salespeople that know how to do the activities that sales development representatives do. So if you're looking to get into inside sales, or you're already in inside sales and you're looking to up your sales game, this course should help you out. So we're going to cover what a sales development representative is, but before we do that, let's go over what you can expect to get out of this course if you watch every one of the videos, put the work in, learn all of these things, and apply them and turn them into habits. First, you can expect to up your sales game, learn everything that you need to be a successful and hopefully top performing sales development representative in inside sales. We're going to cover how to build a sales pitch from the ground up, how to start a conversation, how to keep the conversation going to generate some interest and curiosity, and how to ultimately close on a meeting and do a discovery and qualify a prospect. Probably most importantly, you'll learn the mindset that you need to be as successful as possible as a sales development representative. I believe that SDR role, it's like 80% mindset and 20% skill and experience. You'll also learn the steps to a typical sales process from point A to point Z. What parts of the sales process a sales development representative shares responsibility and control over, and how to maximize your effectiveness and your conversion rates at every single one of those steps to the process to put you in the best position to be able to be as successful as possible. So that was goal one, to up your sales game. Goal two is to separate you from the pack. I don't know if you've been looking at sales development representative jobs on LinkedIn Jobs or anywhere else, but you'll find that there are a lot of people that are applying to those jobs, and it's very difficult to be able to separate you from everybody else that's applying. Throughout this course, you're going to learn several things that help separate you from the pack of all the other SDR candidates that are out there, and man, there's a lot of them. You'll learn how to build your candidate profile on SalesOrg.io that will eventually include recordings of different role plays that you've done, voicemails that you can leave, things that will show how you actually sound to a prospective employer to put you in the best position to be able to earn a role and separate yourself from everyone else that's out there. You'll learn how to find the right sales job for you based on what you're looking for, how to get noticed when you're applying, and how to crush those interviews so you can ultimately get hired. You're also going to learn how to cold call, which a lot of sales development representatives nowadays don't do. They avoid it like it's the plague, and this is the best way to separate yourself from everyone else that's out there, because a lot of people aren't willing to get on the phone and dial. If you can prove to a prospective employer that you're willing to cold call and you can do it at a high level, it instantly separates you from a lot of other applicants. Let's keep it real. All this AI stuff that's coming out right now, it's going to be a lot harder for AI to replace your tone, your personality on the phone versus just texting and email. So goal one was to up your sales game. Goal two was to separate you from the pack, and goal three is to help make you a top performer. It's one thing to get good enough to get hired. It's another thing to know what to do to get noticed and get hired. It's a completely different thing to actually become a top performer once you get hired, because a lot of people get hired in sales roles and they never really make any money. They're never much of a success. People don't realize that that is not the finish line when you get hired. That's where you're starting. That's where your career begins. And that's when it comes time to put in the work. And we're going to teach you how to become a top top performer efficiently once you actually get hired somewhere. In this course, I'm going to teach you everything that I did to become a top performer in numerous sales organizations and everything that I taught my salespeople when I became a manager to turn them into a top performer as well. I'll also teach you what you need to do to eventually get promoted out of the sales development representative role, which when you get promoted out of that role, it's pretty much always to a six-figure opportunity. So every 1 to 2 days or so, starting today, I'm going to be uploading more modules in this course to this channel. So if you're interested in going through the entire course, I recommend liking this video, share it with somebody else that might be interested in taking the course, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so anytime new course modules come up, you're notified of it and you can get going. So that's what you can expect to get out of this course, but why should you take it in general? What is a sales development representative? A sales development representative, or SDRs for short, generate and qualify leads that they would convert to an opportunity and hand off to an account executive to ultimately sell and turn into a closed-won opportunity or a deal, a paying customer. Now, some companies don't have SDRs. They have what's called a full-cycle account executive. That would be someone that generates their own opportunities, qualifies them, sets a meeting, does the meeting, does an online demo or whatever that sales process is, and then they close the deal for themselves. But even if you're going for one of those roles, you still need to know how to do everything that a sales development representative does, because that's part of a full-cycle account executive's job. So again, sales development representatives generate and qualify leads and then they hand them off to an account executive, but where do they get these leads? They're usually working one of two types of leads. Sometimes they work both, which are inbound leads and outbound leads. Inbound leads are leads where the customer has performed an action that indicates that they may have interest in purchasing the solution that you're selling. They may have downloaded an ebook from your marketing team or attended a webinar that your marketing team had, or they may have just gone on your website and clicked the button to request that they get a web demonstration of the solution that you're offering. Either way, they effectively raise their hand, they've shown that they may have interest, and now you're gonna go after them. Those leads sound great, right? They're warm leads. And yeah, inbound leads are usually easier to book the opportunity on or book a demonstration with, but a lot of the time they're harder to sell because inbound leads are shoppers, so they're probably looking at all of your competitors, which can make the sales cycle a little bit longer, and it can make things a little bit more difficult for the AE and sometimes for the SDR to even book the meeting to begin with. Now, what are outbound leads? These are the leads that are cold leads. They had no clue that you were going to reach out to them and potentially pitch your solution or uncover any pains that they may have that your product or solution might be able to solve, and you have no clue whether or not they're actually interested right now. You have an inkling that they may be interested based on their persona, what industry they're in, what region that they're in, the size of their company. There's a few factors that may indicate that they may have interest based on the deals that your company has already closed. Now, with outbound leads, it's a sales development representative's job to lower their skepticism and then build up their impulse and intent, so it can be a little bit harder to book the meeting. But a lot of the times when you do book the meeting, the sales cycle can be shorter and the actual deal size can be larger, because often they're not vetting a boatload of different companies. They're not price shopping for the best possible deal, and they're gonna nickel and dime you on absolutely everything. Again, this isn't a hard and fast rule, but it's a decent rule of thumb of what you can expect with an outbound lead versus an inbound lead. Whether or not a prospective customer came in as an inbound lead or an outbound lead, it's the sales development representative's job to uncover any pains or problems that they're having that your solution could potentially solve, qualify them to make sure that they're actually a potential buyer that you would want to sell, and then ultimately book the meeting to hand off to an account executive. What I love about the sales development representative role is how much it's dependent on your mindset or your frame of mind or your mental toughness or how hungry you are. So in other words, you could be the most skillful, experienced salesperson on the planet, but if you're not in the right headspace, if you're not determined right now when it comes time to actually do the job, you might not be as good as somebody who has almost no experience, almost no skill, but they're determined, they're hungry, and they're consistent. They're willing to do the things that are required to make you successful day in and day out. That's the beauty of this role, is that if you're tough and you're just willing to put the work in, your work ethic and your consistency can make up for your lack of skill and experience when you first get started. So that's an SDR, that's what an SDR does, and that's what some successful SDRs do, but why should you care? Why should you even want to be an SDR? Well, first off, the money. So what can you expect to earn as a sales development representative? Well, it varies depending on where you're working at, what industry you're in, the size of the companies that you're trying to sell, but I'll give you an idea just based on data that's on repview.com, which is the average salary of a sales development representative now is roughly around $53,000. Their average OTE, which means on-target earnings, that's your base salary plus your expected commissions if you hit your target, is around $82,000 a year. Not bad for an entry-level sales position. Another reason to become an SDR is the career advancement. Being a sales development representative, that role, it's like a launch pad for a boatload of other opportunities that you can have within your career, whether it's being an account executive, whether it's being a team lead where you're leading a team of sales development representatives, or you could go into marketing, customer success, HR. Pretty much every department in any company has people working in it that used to be a sales development representative. A successful sales development representative usually is in that role for 1 to 2 years before they ultimately end up getting promoted to one of those roles that I mentioned. And by the way, a lot of those roles that I mentioned, they're six-figure opportunities right off the bat. So, money, career advancement. The third one, low to no degree requirement. When I first got into tech sales in 2013, I didn't have a college degree. I actually dropped out of college when I started selling cars in 2003 or 2004, I think it was. And I started in tech sales in the role that we're talking about as a sales development representative. And then I moved to an account executive. And then I ultimately moved to a director of sales where I was making around $250,000 a year with no college degree at all. I eventually got my associate's degree because I worked for a company that would let you go to college for free. They'd pay your tuition, but it's had no bearing on my career, my advancement, nothing. Long story short, I did not need a degree to get to where I've gotten to in sales, which is multiple six figures a year, doing pretty well for myself, and that opportunity is still available to anybody else that is trying to break in. So that's a quick introduction on what you can expect from the course, what a sales development representative is, what they do, and why you should be interested in potentially becoming one. If you have interest in going through the rest of this course, again, I'm going to continuously upload modules probably every 1 to 2 days over the next few weeks and months. So if you're interested, like this video. If you know somebody else that might be interested in this, share it with them as well. Subscribe, hit the notification bell so you'll be alerted anytime we update new modules, and I'm going to do absolutely everything that I can to help up your sales game and make you the best sales development representative that you can be.